Evelyn.
We are Acolyte.
And you're watching Metal Ignition.
You played it right this time. Don't let this be a
I had a French reviewer review us and get in contact with us, and he said that there is a very fundamental Australian prog sound that's coming through, and they're even hearing it. So like your bigger bands like Caligula's Horse, obviously Carnival and stuff like that, which probably has foundations or bottom ends of like your Tesseracts and things like that. For us, having rich, I think, backgrounds and likes of sort of your more older vintage style prog that comes through and things like that too. We're paving our own way in the prog scene a little bit with our own sound. It means that we still fit in with these people, but we still hold our point of difference, which is becoming more and more important as we find our way through the music industry and the different people that we play with and the people that are taking interest in us as well.
Supported metal bands, support hard rock kind of bands, and whichever kind of lineup it is. I mean, all those scenes are going great. A lot of strong bands. The Acolyte always seems to be a point of difference or something else on the night, which I think is one of Acolyte's strengths. We can play in a whole bunch of the scenes and create, still a unique vibe on the night.
I think the scene is alive and well. I think there's still a lot of great bands out there that are creating a lot of great music and doing a lot of awesome shows. We cascade through different genres in every song.
Permeate.
I think we just we touch so many different genres.
And to be different now means that we're not tied into something that's working now. We can change our sound around and evolve album to album. That's kind of the whole ethos of why we put Acolyte together, is we wanted to not be tied into all the bands that were going around at the time. Well, there's anything particularly wrong, but we just wanted to be free to change and see where we wanted to go and not have to know exactly what that was from the outset. Probably all just started from not hearing a band exactly in the style of music that we liked to our personal tastes, really, and we just wanted to create something that was ours and unique, but still able to sit in the canon of modern Australian progressive music.
Yeah, I think with the theatrics behind it as well, we knew that we knew we liked dynamic, we knew we liked the music to build, we knew we liked epic moments that had foundations of things that were unusual as well. So we actually released demos at the beginning to see what people thought about it all. And they even changed over time until we got what we've got on Shades of Black now. We're lucky enough to film in 2 premiere locations in Australia, which were Sing Sing Studios, who's pretty much had everyone walk through those doors, which is quite humbling. You walk in and you can feel that everyone was there, had been there before you, also studios in the city, which is Tom Larkin's studio from She Had. Reason being that he's a drummer and he collects drum stuff, so we wanted to make sort of a super monster kit for this. Yeah, Franken kit of basically every type of different brand and everything you can think of.
To make a really raw sound as well, because we like to use lots of room mics and didn't use a whole lot of compression, so we try to make our sound stand out a little bit. So we do one day here, a couple of days, 3 weeks later, 2 months would go by and we'd go in and track more things. So if we condensed it all into one span of time, it probably would have been about a solid month of work. Fundamentally,
we walked in to an environment that was basically set up for labels. We decided at the very beginning we were going to release something that would stand against the test of time against anybody else's releases, and that's why we went down that avenue. That said, we financed it all ourselves, which is a very, very big task for a small band trying to make the same sort of album that labels usually put across without their backing. So it's the reason it took us so long. We decided to go in, record the 2 songs that would be our singles, so that we could make videos and everything like that and keep everyone enticed in what we were doing. And then later on we could bring out the album.
Like Pete and also Chris, like we came in after the album was actually recorded. So everyone's got a different story to how it all went. I think Chris sort of adds a bit of his own drum flair to it. Pete was learning Frank's parts pretty much note for note, but I had free reign because there was very little keys in it. So I was a bit nervous at first as to how I was going to put it all together, but then eventually after listening to the songs at length and hearing different soundscapes where I could put them, I started to learn where I could put things and create, sort of take the Acolyte sound but add some dimension to it that takes it even more on a journey, because I find that the music does really much tell you a story.
Tracking guitar solos for Space and Time, which is our album closer, the big guitar finish that everyone loves so much, was I just see the hours and the pain and suffering and the heartache and the grey hairs that I now have to produce people through that.
I lacked it all, but Jason had this weird sort of like, I've got to fix that. That needs to be fixed.
I had a very specific vision for what I wanted that to be, and I walked into the studio and I left two guitarists alone, and then I was like, what? No.
There were times that I was behind couches, had to rewrite songs, basically in tears. No one knew where I was. You go through that in the studio where your producer basically says, the song's great, but you need to rewrite it. So that happened I had to write it in 2 days. That was fantastic.
So when it came to actually releasing it, I know I was quite nervous because I didn't play on the album, so I wasn't sure if people would sort of listen and then go, there's all this extra stuff that's not on the album, or hear drum, because some people are very particular with stuff, but the outcome I thought was really, really, really good. We had a lot of people turn up, which was fantastic, and continual support from the public, which is great. So we were all scared though, I think. There was that sort of air of what's going on, this is all
terrified.
happening.
Anticipation.
I think creatively, from start to finish, I've worked really closely with the original members and even the new ones in creating it's not just the music to me. Because of the theatrical background, there's so much more dimension to it. So I was very, very careful with the way the videos came out, which songs came out first, the feel of everything, so that it all rolled out into the way the album looked, the way we look on stage. Everything had to tie in with each other. So for me, the anticipation was just, it almost killed me in the end, really. But when we got up there...
That's why she's got blue hair.
It is. People caught on with the creativeness a little bit too far, I think. Now I'm blue too. Yeah.
It was always the fight to, let's just get this thing out the gate and release it, but then we kind of knew that if we never released anything else, we wanted this to be exactly the way we wanted it to be.
Everyone in the band is a big fan of live music, in that you can take anything on a record of an album and you can mix it all up in the studio to make it sound perfect. But I think for everyone in the band, it really is a test of how great a band is that they can pull their stuff off live, not just having things in tune, but interacting with one another and sharing that journey together. And I definitely think over a stretch of time, Acolyte's got a lot sharper with that. New members have come involved, everyone's sort of got this chemistry together, which is great. And that really adds to the music. So if people come along, they're not just going to get the music, but they're also going to get a live show that's not only unique, but it's very powerful and dynamic. So
it takes you on a journey, as you were saying before, Jay, the live show. Particularly with the colour schemes, the lights, the whole production of the show, Morgan Lee up front.
Not to Zoe.
Not to Zoe. Morgan Lee up front, facilitating the whole thing. Lots of ambient space. From Dave on the keys, to create a mood and an atmosphere that I don't reckon you get in any other show. So
we look like we're closed off with the artscape that we create online and everything like that, but when people come, we surprise them with a punch. And that's the most important thing, I think, that people come expecting one thing and they walk away having experienced something completely different.
And it's good to have different types of experiences. Like listening to the album is an experience on its own, which is separate from the live show. That's why we want to have something a little bit different, not sort of that one's better than the other, I would say. It's just that listening to the album by yourself, you can focus on all the nuance, but if you're watching us perform live, you get sort of the emotion and the feeling behind the music more. And then our video clips again sort of have another facet to the way our brains are working and how we see the art that we're making.